Once upon a time, in the North Pole, lived a reindeer named Ralph. Ralph was the only reindeer of color in the North Pole, and he often felt out of place. He was often excluded from the reindeer games, and even the other reindeer made fun of him for being different. One day, while out on a walk, Ralph stumbled upon a group of elves. One of the elves, a short, shy elf named Elijah, noticed Ralph and smiled at him. It was then that Ralph realized that Elijah was different too. He was a homosexual elf. Ralph and Elijah soon became friends, and Ralph was amazed at how accepting and understanding the other elves were of Elijah. This was in stark contrast to the way the reindeer treated him. Ralph and Elijah soon became aware of the misfit toys that Santa had brought to the North Pole. These were toys that the other elves had deemed too old, too broken, or too strange to be included in the regular toy-making process. When Ralph and Elijah asked why the misfit toys were not accepted, they were told that everyone was expected to be perfect in the North Pole. Ralph and Elijah decided to take the misfit toys under their wing, and soon the misfit toys were accepted by the other elves. The misfit toys soon became a tight-knit community, and the elves began to learn from and accept the misfit toys for who they were. Ralph and Elijah also noticed the presence of the abominable snow monster, a large and intimidating creature that patrolled the North Pole. When they asked why the snow monster was there, they were told that the snow monster was there to protect Santa and the elves from the people of the inner city. Ralph and Elijah couldn't believe that the elves were so afraid of the people of the inner city. So they decided to do something. They began to teach the other elves about the diversity and inclusion that existed in the inner city, and soon the elves began to become more accepting of those who were different. Finally, Ralph and Elijah were able to find acceptance in the North Pole. Santa and his elves, who were mostly from the suburbs, soon realized that Ralph and Elijah had something to offer and began to include them in their festivities. Ralph and Elijah also met a prospector, a rugged individual who had been through enough real problems to not care if someone was properly fulfilling their social expectations. Thanks to Ralph and Elijah, the North Pole was transformed into a place of diversity and inclusion. No longer did anyone feel like they were on the outside looking in. Instead, everyone felt accepted and included.